More than 200 years ago, Americans fought a revolution against big government.
He has erected a multitude of new offices and has sent hither swarms of officials to harass our people and eat out their substance.
George III and his bureaucrats taxed and controlled their lives until the people said, enough.
Welcome to On Second Thought, where William Wagner gives you information that ought to give you second thoughts about the unconstitutional acts of our local, state, and federal government.
Thank you, Megan Wells. Wonderful to have Megan here, and we've got Uncle Sam with us here, the spirit of America. Uncle Sam, how you feeling now, Uncle Sam?
I'm feeling great.
You look good, but the bald eagle's about to pluck your hat off. Well, how do you feel feeling great?
I feel good all over.
How do you like Obama's, quote, health death care?
Well, I don't like it.
Isn't it nice they exempted Congress? Congress and the president and the federal judges are exempt from Obama's death care, but all of us 65 or over are going to get crunched?
And do you know how much $1 trillion is?
I don't know. That's more women than I've kissed in my life. I know that. We've got a doctor, a retired doctor, who will be calling in on Obamacare later. But right now, the candidates, there's Etta Waterfield running for the Republican nomination. There's Etta.
100 unregulatory agencies in the state of California. I don't know if all of you know that. But these regulatory agencies, they're unaccountable. They're placed there by people who are unelectable, and they don't have any great oversight by anyone. One of the first things I'm going to do in the assembly is to have accountability and ask, why do we have these boards? I am tired of standards just because we've had them forever and ever. One of my parts as a planning commissioner for the city of Santa Maria that I always question staff is, why do we do things we have always done 10 years ago? It's not applicable for today, let's change them. That's exactly what we need to do. We need to get rid of most of these boards, but we need to have a strong person in there that will ask the hard questions and will not accept the standards that California has had for years.
There's a guy named Cacho, he's a supervisor in San Luis.
It's simple, get involved. Whenever there is a room to add a commissioner on the Coastal Commission, be sure you're calling your elected officials to say who you want to seat on that seat, and otherwise, the other side, I sit on Coastal Commission. I feel very lonely there for the reasons that anytime there's an opening, who's working very hard to put commissioners there? The Sierra clubs, all the Greens, and that's why I feel I'm very lonely there. I'm sure, Mr. Colwell, you know of the project in Goleta. I was the only voice supporting their project, and everybody else went against it. What a shame that was. I even asked my colleagues on the Coastal Commission, why wouldn't you give the staff some direction as to what is it that you're voting against it, and what is it that you want them to bring you back so that you can approve such a project? It doesn't make sense. And if it's up to them, you wouldn't see any valid projects such as resorts come to our coast, where our tourists have to come and spend their money. That's clean industry. And if our income is based on tourism, it takes Coastal Commission to kill it. Let's get rid of them.
And there's this guy, Fred, he's strong.
Participate, he's absolutely correct. Anybody can do it. I do it. I do it all the time. We've been doing it for decades. This document was issued less than 2 weeks ago. This is going to rule your water conservation for the next 10 years. This is the 20% reduction by 2020. I've been testifying on that for over a year, multiple times. You know how many people in San Luis Obispo County testified on this? 6. Out of all those people, 6 people testified on it. I got a lot of changes to it. You can too, but you have to go to the state website. You have to find out what's going on. Right now, there's hearings coming up, and they're taking testimony on preventing all electric generating power plants from taking any sea or river water to cool their facilities. And that's going to be an environmental thing again. They're taking the testimony now. Go on the website and file your objections and your comments, please.
Our good old faithful Matt Kokkonen, yes.
The person who appoints them is the governor. And you better vote for a good conservative governor, and then you'll possibly get the correct appointees to those positions. Also, through a budgetary process, we can limit them because we need to cut off the supply of money. These guys make, some of them make $100,000 or more per year for meeting perhaps a few times a year. And many of them don't do anything at all. I'd like to make one correction on what was mentioned about the unfunded liabilities of San Luis Obispo County. The $750 million that's in there, truly, we do have that money in there. However, the $250 million is in addition that we should have in there. So that's the unfunded portion that the politicians have been unwilling to put in there when they should have. Thank you.
Right now, if you're suffering, if you're not being able to pay your rent, your mortgage, and you're finding out that you're running out of money constantly, and there just isn't enough money raining on you, well, just go to Congress and say, hello, I'm a fat, spoiled corporation, and I need a $10 billion bailout. And if you don't give it to me, we'll crash the economy. Because that's what AIG did, Goldman Sachs. Your president doesn't really matter. He's a puppet of Goldman Sachs and AIG. Your Congress are all puppets, except for a few like Ron Paul. There's a few others. I can't think of one from California, maybe McClintock, a freshman congressman. But you don't have any clout because Congress doesn't represent you. They represent the corporations that give them the most money. And if you look at all the Democrats and all the Republicans, that's what you will see. Now, there's a lot of candidates running, and we've got two coming up for you tonight. One running for governor of California on the Republican side. We've got another one running for Secretary of State, which is really an important office. That's the one that really oversees the elections and supposedly makes sure the elections run fine. So I caught one of them. His name is Ken Miller. Ken Miller had the answer, I think. We have tried to get Meg Whitman to stand up and take a position. We haven't seen her do that. We've asked that other guy, Steve. He doesn't want to take a position.